This week on the CBS series Whistleblower, when the Wells Fargo banking scandal erupted nationally in 2016 amid allegations that employees were encouraged to open credit card accounts for customers without their knowledge, leading to even larger systemic fraud, one former employee was at home saying, "I told you so."
One small voice blowing the whistle can sometimes be silenced, but a chorus of voices can become too loud to be drowned out. That's exactly what happened with the Wells Fargo bank scandal.
If you bank with Wells Fargo, take a close look at your account tonight.
The California Department of Justice is now launching a criminal investigation into Wells Fargo.
Claims of fraud by Wells Fargo are now going national.
The Wells Fargo fiasco erupted in 2016.
My initial reaction was, I told you so. Like, I told you way back when.
Bankers opening up millions of fake accounts in the name.
You didn't listen.
7 years earlier, Jesse Witron first sounded the alarm.
It could have been stopped.
Born in Mexico, Jesse's family settled in St. Helena, in the heart of California's Napa Valley. She began working at a community bank, got married, and had 2 kids.
A lot of people lost a lot of money as the stock market plunged.
The biggest one-day slide since the after.
But in 2007, the financial crisis hit, and everything came crashing down.
The housing market seems close to bottoming out.
Millions of Americans could soon find themselves in danger of foreclosure.
I was doing mortgages. At that point, you couldn't close any loans. And my salary had reduced by 2/3. I had separated from my first husband. Now all of a sudden I have to feed 3 mouths with 1 salary.
She found a new job at Wells Fargo.
In 2008, I get a call.
Welcome to Wells Fargo.
We would love to have you work for Wells Fargo.
Was there excitement going to a national bank like Wells Fargo? Was this like, this could be something big?
Yes, I wanted, obviously to have my career propel. And I was really hopeful that that would happen with Wells Fargo. They talked about the mission statement, how we're the professionals and we're supposed to help people become financially stable.
From the start, it was challenging.
Part of the training says go for great with an emphasis on 8.
With the GR8?
Yes. And so what that meant is every day you are required to open 8 accounts.
Jesse wasn't worried. At first.
I had a large following of clients that in the beginning it was easy to have people switch a bank. They've been following me from bank to bank. And then I also have a large family.
She would call mom and my other sisters, friends, mutual friends that we had. She would say, "Hey, can I open an account for you?" I'm like, "Jesse, really? Do I need a 4th one?"
Jesse says the numbers didn't add up.
St. Helena, at the time, the population was right around 5,000 people. And so if you do the math, there was 5 of us, 5 bankers. If each of us does 8 accounts,
that's 40 a day.
That's 40 a day. That means in 125 days, every single person in St. Helena is going to have accounts at Wells Fargo.
What kind of customers was your bank targeting?
Mainly the farm workers.
These were the most vulnerable clients. Less educated, they didn't speak the language, they might have fear of deportation.
Yes.
And if these potential customers weren't coming into the bank on their own.
Right behind me, we have the people that are waiting to be picked up for work.
Jessie says some of her managers urged her to lure them in by any means necessary.
They would say, "Jessie, button your shirt, shake your skirt, go to the corner and go bring those customers. They're gonna come running and let's open them accounts."
She refused to do it.
Everything that I knew or that I had built in my head, my idea of what Wells Fargo was about and their mission, pretty soon became really obvious that their mission statement is fake. Everything was fake.
and Jesse began to believe that the problems were widespread. You started noticing that this wasn't limited to your branch.
Yes. Everyone's being pressured the same, whether it was a small town like St. Helena or whether it was a big city like, Los Angeles.
Jesse discovered that some bankers, desperate to reach their quota, were being devious. They were promising farm workers free services with their $100 deposits. Unbeknownst to them, they'd been signed up for elite accounts that required a staggering $25,000 minimum balance. Why would they do that?
To gain the $25 incentive payout.
The higher commission.
Yes. Each product has a dollar amount that's paid to you as an incentive as the banker. So if you open a basic account, that would pay the banker $10. Versus the elite account, it'll pay the banker $25.
But the farm workers would later discover they'd been charged hefty monthly fees. And suddenly, their accounts were overdrawn. So the customer's credit gets slammed because they didn't pay
Yes.
the monthly payment. Even more egregious, in order to make their quota, Jesse says some bankers opened accounts using false information.
There was a checking account open for an 11-year-old boy. The information was entered as his birthday being such that he was 16. There's also times where accounts were open for people that I know don't even exist.
Jesse refused to stay silent. You complained about it to your supervisor. Nothing was done.
Nothing was done.
So she called HR and the Wells Fargo ethics hotline. She also complained to her boss's bosses. And what did the regional manager tell you?
A misunderstanding. That was their favorite word. It's a misunderstanding. I keep complaining and complaining, and nothing gets ever done.
You're a single mom. You're raising 2 kids by yourself. Why are you making trouble?
I'm doing what my conscience tell me to do. I could have easily jumped on the wagon and do things the Wells Fargo way and benefited financially. I chose not to because it's fraud. That's what it is.
But did Jesse have what it takes to take on Goliath?
I was the black sheep and I was being targeted.
She began to build her arsenal.
I had different examples of how the fraud was happening. The best thing to do was to back up whatever I was reporting with documentation. That way I would have the proof.